Wrestlers are generally split into two distinct roles: the baby faces and the heels. Usually, a wrestler works closely with writers and bookers to choose a character that leans strongly to their natural personality. But sometimes, the wrestling gods laugh at even the best laid plans. There is a fascinating phenomenon that exists uniquely in wrestling, where a wrestler goes out there with pure intentions, trying their absolute hardest to be the ultimate smiling, heroic good guy, and the audience completely rejects them. Why does this happen? Usually, it's because the audience feels the character is being forced down their throats, or the character feels manufactured and fake. Modern wrestling fans are incredibly smart. They can smell corporate engineering from a mile away. When a good guy feels too perfect, too clean, or too heavily pushed by the company management, the crowd rebels. A classic example of this is John Cena in the late 2000s and 2010s. He was the ultimate charity-working, never-give-up hero for children, but older fans grew to resent his constant winning and perceived lack of edge, leading to the famous split-stadium chants, "Let's go Cena. Cena sucks." Another legendary example is Roman Reigns around 2015 to 2018. The company desperately wanted him to be the next mega good guy, but the fans wanted someone else. The harder Roman tried to be a traditional hero, the louder the stadium booed him. Fans don't want to be told who to love, but turning that corporate favorite into a bad guy completely fixes the dynamic. For example, Seth Rollins after he betrayed the Shield. Even with Roman, when he leaned into being the chosen bad guy tribal chief, it fixed the issue. It made him the bad guy that everyone loves to hate, not the good guy they hate to love. But the irony, sometimes, fans end up cheering for the bad guy they are supposed to hate. Wrestling fans appreciate greatness. When a bad guy is too good at being bad, when their promos are incredibly sharp, and their in-ring work is flawless, the audience stops booing. This is the ultimate double irony of the business. Management pushes a good guy. The fans hate him. So management turns him into a bad guy. But because he is so brilliant as a bad guy, the fans fall in love with him and start cheering him all over again. When Roman Reigns was performing at his peak as a terrifying villain, stadiums full of people who used to boo him out of pure annoyance started raising their fingers in the air to acknowledge him. They cheered for the bad guy because, ironically, by finally embracing the darkness, he became the most undeniable star in the industry. A great booker understands a fundamental truth about wrestling. You cannot dictate the fans' emotions. You can only navigate them. When a booker ignores the crowd and tries to force a storyline against the grain, it's like trying to row a boat up a waterfall. When people feel their voices are not being heard, they hijack the show. Fans will completely stop paying attention to the match in the ring. They will chant for unrelated legends, play with beach balls in the crowd, or turn their backs on the ring. A brilliant booker treats the fans' reactions like real-time data. They don't see a crowd hijacking a show as a disaster. They see it as a massive, flashing neon sign pointing toward a new direction. When a performer is supposed to be a villain, but is generating massive, organic cheers because they are just too entertaining, a good booker doesn't punish them or try to make them meaner. They execute a face turn. They give the fans permission to love who they already love. Sometimes fans latch onto an unexpected wrestler who wasn't originally planned for the main event. A stubborn booker keeps them in the mid-card. A great booker rewrites the entire year's plan to give that wrestler a rocket ship push. Think of Daniel Bryan leading into WrestleMania 30. Management wanted a completely different main event, but the fans literally hijacked every single episode of TV for months, booing every other hero. The booker leaned in, changed the script, and created one of the most iconic, emotionally satisfying payoffs in history. The absolute best stories in wrestling history aren't completely made up in a writer's room. They are born when a booker finds a real-life crack in the wall, jams a crowbar into it, and rips it wide open for the cameras. When Dwayne Johnson returned to WWE, fans rejected him taking the main event spot away from Cody Rhodes. Instead of forcing the good guy persona, The Rock leaned into the real internet backlash. He turned into an aggressive, unhinged villain who openly mocked corporate television standards, referenced real, backstage board of directors politics, and blurred the lines of what he was legally allowed to do on TV. By weaponizing the truth, wrestling transcends being a fake show and becomes a mirror of reality. It proves that the most compelling villains are the ones speaking uncomfortable truths, and the most captivating heroes are the ones fighting battles we know are entirely real.